Right guys and girls, it's Usernamekate here and welcome back to the channel. Today I am in sunny south of France on Honda's GB350S and I'm going to be doing a 90km loop, riding this bike around. I know you guys seemingly loved it on the channel previously, so I've figured I'll do a video of the ride whilst I'm over here for Wheels and Waves. So if you're interested to come along with me on this ride where I refresh my thoughts about Honda's GB350S, then keep watching. So let's refresh the memory about the old GB350. Now, if you want to see my full in-depth review that I filmed when I first got access to this bike from Honda, I'll pin a link just above here somewhere and you can watch that. But this video is just going to be a bit of a refresher video. It's a bit of an overcast day today. Hopefully that's not going to impact the video too much. Might make it a bit dark in places, I do apologise. So what do we know about the GB350S? Well, it's a single cylinder, a little putter, an air-cooled one at that. It produces 20 brake horsepower and 29 Newton meters of torque. So it's not gonna win any sprints off the line, unless it's against a Royal Enfield HNTR perhaps. And even then they're similarly matched, so it depends on the rider. I'll try not to go too stat heavy in this video because, as I mentioned in the link above, that'll have all the stats till your heart's content. So first thing that I remember after hopping on this bike is just how light and agile it is. Oh gosh, look at the hydrangeas. Wow. I've never seen that many together. Oh. Sorry. So, that's one thing I keep doing. I have something called chronic indicator cancelling syndrome. It's not a thing officially, but I know so many sufferers worldwide. And I think it's just this weird tic or like OCD feeling. Like, I don't have OCD or tics in real life, like I can't relate to that, but what I can relate to is constantly going to press my indicator to make sure it's cancelled. It's an actual problem. It's not a problem until the horn is in the place where the indicator usually is. Then it's a problem because you just find yourself constantly beeping. And I am being outed for my syndrome. Oh no. First world problems, drawing attention to yourself, isn't it? Especially when you're on a bike. Can't really be a bad thing. But yeah, it's light, it's agile, and the throttle is really nice and free revving. Look at this. Got some nice flowy bends for the really stable GB350 to tackle. I love how planted this bike feels. I definitely remember that. So it's quite strange because I've hopped on this bike and it's instantly lower feeling than I remember it. It does have a seat height of 800mm. And the one in the UK that I rode, I sat on it and, you know, the suspension, I don't know whether the preload of the rear shocks was set quite firm, but it felt really kind of scandalously tall for what the bike is. But I've hopped on this and this bike has been used, you know, all throughout Wheels and Waves for other groups from other countries to come and ride the Honda GB350, and I don't know whether they've softened the preload on the rear but it definitely doesn't feel as tall as I remember, which is quite strange, because I just thought, oh, this might not be a great bike for people that are a bit on the shorter side. And now, if the suspension has been adjusted, it's got me questioning my own validity of that comment. But that's good, because it makes it so much more accessible. Bumpy. But that's one of the things that I really did like about Honda's suspension when I first got on it. Yeah, it felt a bit taller, but the suspension is so compliant for this kind of bike. Like when I was riding the Royal Enfield HNTR, I would go over bumps and I feel like the front end would get a little bit bent out of shape. It'd shake its head a bit in disagreement with how I was riding it over the bumps. And when I got on the GB350, it was just way firmer, and it just took the bumps so much better and so much more stable. So if the one that I am riding now does have a substantially softer back end, because of course we have no adjustability on the front, then that would explain why I can get my feet down a lot easier. I mean, it does feel like it is riding a bit softer over the bumps than the one that I rode in the UK, so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But then again, these bikes that I'm riding with in this group, there's quite a few of us out, they're all like slightly different in customization. Yeah, I told a bit of a lie this morning when I did my little piece to camera. I said we're on bone stockers, and they are, in the sense that they're production bikes, but they are fitted with varying degrees of Honda genuine accessories. So still what we're riding, is everything that you can get from a Honda dealership. So for example, the one I'm on there's not kind of anything done to it. But I've seen some of the ones that the girls are riding. Some of them have the headlight cowl, some of them have crash bars, some of them have fog lamps, which look pretty cool, to be honest. Some of them have a seat cover that just goes over the pillion seat, so it gives it more of a cowl look. Drop to second, clutch super light. One of the highlights of this bike for me. I know it sounds silly, but a really heavy clutch gets so fatiguing, especially after a long day in the saddle, especially if you're doing a lot of riding, if you get caught in rush hour and you've got to commute, so you've got to slip that clutch. It's just so light on the GB350, and I love it. We've got a nice 19-inch front on this bad boy, and it doesn't detract from the handling in the slightest. Like, even though it's not a little weaselly 17-inch front, it still flies around the bends with ease. No drama llama there. Oh, it's a lovely flowy road, this. Absolutely beautiful. The handling characteristics of the GB350S are just lovely. Honestly, point and shoot. Brakes are great. I like 5?
You like it?
Yeah. They're just so light and so fun. And I like the throttle is nice and like free feeling. Just, Okay, so apparently we're getting some cheeky little drone footage. Oh yes. That'll ding dang do. Flow it round. Really enjoy this bike so much. Even though it doesn't have bags of power, I honestly don't mind. I don't care. Just take it for what it is. A bike that you can still have redonkulous amounts of fun on. Alright guys and girls, we've just had a little coffee stop and a bit of a wardrobe change because it started to rain. This was not forecasted, can it not? Third gear there, put. But honestly, if I was in the market for a smaller, lighter bike, I absolutely could see me owning one of these bikes. And in true wheels and waves style, what would I do to it? What would be my customization? Because I guess one of the criticisms that Honda faced with this bike, the GB350, was the tank colour options. They're all very neutral looking and they're all kind of very similar. Like there's not much differentiation between their grey and their blue. And in fact, I'm pretty sure when I had one from Honda, I had the grey one, and it looked almost blue on camera, but to the naked eye, it just still looked grey. So people were like, are you sure that's not the blue one? And I'm like, I'm absolutely positive, but they obviously weren't seeing it through my own eyes, just on the camera. So, if I was to customise one of these, I feel like I'd go in one of two directions. I'd get a proper bright popping paint job on the tank, just to make it really eye-catching and stand out. Or, I might even go kind of... Do you remember Keira Knightley and the Ducati Sport Classic, I think it was, for a perfume advert, I want to say? Don't quote me on that. Anyway, I'm thinking the GB350 could have like a bit of an ivory tank, an ivory coloured tank, nice and glossy, almost enamel looking, with a nice tan brown bench seat, maybe brat it out a little bit. You know, just tidy that whole back end up. I think that'd look pretty nice. How would you customise a GB350? What would you do to it? Do you know one thing that is really nice about this bike is the sound? It's the put, the single cylinder thumper. Oh, it's just great. Wow. Oh, these roads look nice and dry. Get in. The weight of this bike, super light, 178 kilograms, come on. So light. And the tank capacity, a 15 litre tank, from a 20 brake horsepower engine. And I reckon that's some good miles to a tank. Oh, the way it just sweeps around bends. I absolutely love it. It's effortless. So who do I think this bike is predominantly aimed at? Well, I think maybe people that are stepping up from the CVT. They want something with a little bit more poke, but maybe they quite like the pros that come with a 125, such as the lightness and just manageability. I think it could definitely appeal to that kind of rider. Now we can spread our wings a little bit, get the ponies galloping all 20 of them. Yeah, sorry, as I was saying, definitely reckon a rider stepping up from a 125, maybe an older rider who doesn't, you know, they've got the ego stuff out the way, they're older and wiser, they're mature. They just want something, a bike that can make their life easy if they're just nipping out, if they want a little blast on a Sunday or actually any day of the week, because maybe they're retired, who knows. A lot of assumptions here, Kate. But yeah, I reckon it would suit, you know, maybe an older rider, or maybe someone that just wants a relatively cheap, light, easygoing second bike. Something that when they don't want to take out the big fully loaded Africa twin of a weekend, they can just hop on this for some easy breezy beautiful riding, you know. But yeah, at just shy of £4,000, and I bet the finance, if you were to go down that route, is cheap as chips as well. I just think it's a brilliant proposition and offering from Honda. I'm trying not to blow smoke up the bike's exhaust, given the fact that I am on a Honda event and I'm riding their bike. But if you've ridden this bike, you'll understand what I mean. That is very annoying though, very annoying. Having the horn where it feels natural for the indicator to be. I do very much feel that that is a Honda thing. And again, without sounding too biased, when I do ride certain Hondas, one of the things that I struggle with some of their models is how snatchy I find the throttle. Twingo! On some of the models like the CV1000 Hornet, like on that launch I found the throttle quite snappy, quite snatchy, but you don't get that on the GB350. It's just the loveliest throttle response. It's just easy to use, controllable. You feel very connected to the road, like you've got good front end feel, suspension's mint, certainly one of the firmer suspensions out of its competitors. Brakes are great, can't complain. They definitely stop you. Got loads of little things on this like Honda's selectable torque control, or in real terms traction control, which is quite funny on a little 125, but with that front wheel, the 18 inch, the 19 inch, if you want to do a bit of scrambling, just whiz that TC off. Having said that though, you can't disengage the ABS, so maybe not a proper scrambler. If they did a scrambler version of this bike with a maybe like a 21 inch front, disengageable rear ABS, a bit of a taller seat height for the clearance, ooh, I reckon that could be a vibe. Well, I think how I should probably end this little refresher of Honda's GB350S vlog is with the fact that it's just affordable fun with actual decent components that can put a shift in, that don't get bent out of shape, that work really well, and you know, have the weight of the Honda brand behind it, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoy this bike. What do you guys think of it? Are you in the camp where you're like, it's not enough power, or are you in the camp that's like, I understand it for what it is, it's got its purpose, it's got its place in the market, and I quite like it? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, well, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all on the next vlog. Bye!